Hey guys, how are ya? Okay, so today I did not plan to film. I didn't have any content planned, but honestly today has been not the best day. Right now it's 5:46. There's still a little bit of light outside. And to be honest, I've been feeling very down today. Yeah, I've been feeling very down. I got out of bed I got out of bed like this morning, took a shower and stuff, but I ate and I went back into bed and I laid there and I had a moment for about 3 hours. And then I don't really know what prompted me to get up and do this, but it just makes me feel better to do something. So I decided that I could do this conversation for you guys, have this talk with you guys. So obviously by the title you can see that this video is about friendship breakups. I don't know if you all have experienced any of these. Honestly, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I think that friendship breakups are worse than breakups with your significant other, just because your friends, your significant other should be your friend, but you know, like when you've had a friend for like 10 years and then all of a sudden you guys can't be friends anymore, that like cuts you to the core. At least it cut me to the core, because my friendships mean a whole lot to me. Also, sorry that my head looks like very long. I have my hair up and I have a big head. I don't know if anybody has noticed, but I have a big head and I'm okay with that. Okay, so anyway, right. So friendship breakups hurt a lot, and between the years of 2016 and 2017/18, I experienced a lot of terrible, heart-wrenching friendship breakups. It's kind of what I would refer to as a pruning period that God had in my life, that I wasn't necessarily prepared for, but it was necessary, and the people who I have in my life now are really so amazing and sensational. I am so thankful for who He has brought into my life, or has kept in my life at this stage. But I thought that I could talk to you guys about the different types of friendship breakups, maybe give you a little bit of a story of the ones that I have experienced, because this is only speaking from my experience, and then what I learned from these breakups. Right. So the first one is the drift apart. So this happens with friends who you have been in close proximity to. A lot of the times, at least for me, it happened in college. All of these happened throughout college. Friendships I made in college that didn't stand the test of time of graduation, essentially. So in college, everybody's in very close proximity, so you can just get up and go to whoever's dorm room or their apartment or their wherever, like they're 2 seconds away from you. And so you also have a lot in common when you're in college, because you're all going through the same things. So the drift apart occurs. It's a very natural process, and you may even look up and not even realize that it happened, but suddenly I'm not texting that person anymore. I'm not getting any calls from that person anymore. We're not having dinner together or lunch together anymore. But maybe you just don't have anything in common with that person. You guys just move into different phases of life that kind of take you away from each other. It's natural, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt, because you're used to having that person around. So the drift apart is painful, but I would say that it's probably one of the better friendship breakups if you're gonna have one, just because you're usually still acquaintances with that person. It's just that they're not gonna be like your ride or die or like your bestie, like how they may have been at one point. Okay, so that's the drift apart. I have experienced that upon graduation. None of us really, well, some of us know, but a lot of us don't know what we want to do next. And in that phase of figuring it out, I lost a lot of friends who were younger than me. because they didn't know how I was feeling, and I didn't know how to express how I was feeling to them. And so we just couldn't help each other anymore. So the conversations became dry. Like, what are we going to talk about? Like, we're not even in the same phase of life. And so that's what happens with the drift apart. So the next one is a little bit more jarring, if you ask me. It is the toxic friendship. And I mean, people can be toxic in your life in so many ways, but in a toxic friendship, you may have identified some things in the characteristics in this person early on. And maybe you just forgot about those because you guys were in the same space, and so it was easy for you all to be friends. But later on, those characteristics either start to manifest again, or that person may have done some things to you that you're like holding a grudge about. Like, it just can manifest in so many different ways. But the long and short of it is that either you or that other person have some malice towards each other. So even though on the surface it looks like a friendship, the underlying is not very genuine. And you'll know because you or that person are not able to wish each other the best. Like, you aren't really rooting for each other anymore. You don't feel happy for them. They don't act like they're happy for you in your victories. And it hurts so much because a lot of the times these people get into your inner circle, or you're in their inner circle, and then you look up and realize, oh my gosh, like, this person doesn't actually care about me. Or I mean, it sucks to say, but maybe you don't care about that person. And so these friendships become very toxic because at the end of the day, like, you all are not uplifting each other. And that's a big part of what friendship should be, is about uplift and support and authenticity. And in a toxic friendship, girl, you don't have that. So usually these friendship breakups are a little bit explosive, just because there underlying like feelings. So when it does end, it's usually because somebody did something to the other person that shows what the underlying feelings were. In college, for me, I had a best friend, and I loved her dearly. But when we first became friends, I did see traits that I didn't like. But circumstance led us to be together all the time. And I just always like made excuses for her. But externally, I was saying these things, but internally, I didn't forgive her for a lot of the things that she did throughout our friendship. And no matter how many times like I expressed those things to her, I didn't feel like they were changing, or I didn't feel like her character was changing. And that's on me. I allowed like a seed of malice to grow, and I villainized that person so horribly that I ended up doing something like very, very unkind to them. And it eventually ended the friendship. But that was one of my worst friendship breakups, because this person, like, we just spent so much time together. And I do think it's something that could have been mended, but the root of the friendship was bad from the beginning. So it was so painful. Like, actually the majority of my friendship breakups have been toxic friendships where either the other person was actually, let's be honest, we were toxic for each other, okay? And forgiveness just wasn't enough. Like, we couldn't forgive and forget, so there was nothing left to hold on to. And oh my gosh, that hurts so badly. Oh my goodness. Like, it's like your heart is being ripped out of your chest because you had envisioned this person at your wedding. Because there are moments of positivity in those friendships, but if the root is bad, then the tree is just not going to grow very tall. So that is a reality that we all have to face. So moving on to the last type of friendship breakup, it is, oh, sorry, I have notes. That's why I keep looking down. So please don't feel like I'm not engaged here. But the last one is the mismatched friendship. Okay, so, you know, when you like go to an event or you are in a class and you have a friend who's in the class, and in that moment, you all have so much in common. And so you start spending a whole lot of time together, late night phone calls, late night hangouts, like all of these things, okay? And then the class ends, right? And so now you all are out like for real, and it's like, are we really friends? Because you're noticing characteristics, like something that this friend wants from you, or something that you want from the friend, that you all weren't actually giving each other because you weren't in an environment that required that type of commitment. So now you're deciding, are we really gonna turn into lifelong friends, or is this gonna end? And that's when the mismatched friendship happens, because you all have different expectations of each other, or of a friendship with each other. But a lot of the times the friendship was situational. It comes in like very hot and heavy, like this, okay, like unhealthily tied and tethered to each other because you all had so much in common. But when it came down to it, y'all really only had that class in common. And obviously I'm using the class as just an example, but you know what I mean? Like, you all weren't actually friends. And so sometimes we can't move on and develop those friendships outside of the situational friendship. And you probably won't remain close with that person. Sometimes it can result in like a drift away, but it also can result in an explosive break apart as well. It just depends on the personalities involved. For me personally, I did have a friendship breakup like this. I told you I had like a lot of friendship breakups that made me contemplate my character for a long time, okay? But I had a friendship breakup like this where we even went on a trip together, y'all. And we went on a trip together, and it was on that trip that I realized, dang, we actually don't have any substance in this friendship, which sucks because we had already made that commitment to spend that time together, and it was very close quarters. It was not good. But I really felt like I gave that person as much as I could. And then by the end of the friendship, she told me, hey, I just really am not getting what I need from you as a friend. And yeah, I was shook. Like, I was so shocked because I had not invested so much into any of my other friendships. And at this point, I had already had several friendship breakups. So I was kind of clinging on to the ones that I had left. And for her to say that she felt like I wasn't giving her enough, I was appalled because I gave her more than anybody else in my life. But at the same time, just because I was giving her my everything didn't mean that it was what she wanted, you know? And that is something that I had to internalize, and I had to accept. Hey, you know, sometimes you're just not somebody's cup of tea, or they're just not your cup of tea. You feel me? So that one hurt, of course. All of these hurt. Honestly, the only reason that I can have this conversation with you guys is that I've worked through a lot of these emotions. I'm like very analytical, which is why all of these videos are probably gonna be like list oriented, because that's how I organize my life. But I've analyzed each and every one of these breakups because all of these people meant so much to me at a specific phase in my life. And that's a good segue into the things that I have learned about friendships, and about maintaining them, and about choosing your friends wisely. So the first thing is that not everyone can go where you're going. And so sometimes God takes you through a phase in your life where he removes people from your life, and it's painful. You don't necessarily want to experience that because you have developed what you expected to be long-term relationships with these people. But you can't take everyone on your dream with you. Not everyone shares your desires for success. Not everyone has the same path that you have. And so sometimes God removes those people before they start to become a burden for you. And admittedly, sometimes you are removed from people's lives before you start to become a burden for them. It's a hard pill to swallow, but everybody just can't go with you. So you just have to trust that whoever has left your life has left for a reason, and whoever is going to come into it is going to give you and nourish you in the way that you really need. And so the next thing is that friendship requires work. So I am a little bit of a loner. I enjoy my alone time so much. I don't know how I got like this. I used to not be like this, but I think when I stopped trusting people, I started to retreat into myself. And so it's very easy for me to go days and days without like saying anything to anyone, without checking up on anyone. And I realized that friendship, like true heartfelt friendship, is not cultivated like that. You have to make sure that you're giving your friends what they need from you, the level of support that they need from you, the level of communication that they desire from you. And you have to discern if that is something that you're capable of. And if it's not, then you just need to go ahead and walk away from that situation, or take a step back and have some communication with that person. Let them know, you know, we may have different goals for friendship here. You know, are we on the same page? Am I giving you what you need? And it's okay to ask that question. But as you mature and your friendship levels dwindle from 50,000 in college to maybe 5, you start to appreciate the people that are in your life, and you just want to love on them. Like it's not a chore, it's something that you want to do. But you have to make sure you put forth the effort to do it, because friendships, it's like a plant. You have to have a strong root and you have to water it so that the friendship can continue to bloom. And so the final thing is that know what you need. So what you need out of a friendship is not necessarily what everybody else needs out of a friendship. Now, there are personality types that complement each other, and those are the friendships that last a long time. And opposites can be complementary as well. Like you just complement each other in different ways. But in a friendship, you need to know what you need from someone. And if you aren't getting it and you express it and it's not working, maybe you need to walk away from that too. So it's basically the flip side of number 2, giving, like what your friends need. You also have to make sure that you're receiving, because you don't want to be a plant that's not getting watered. You don't want to be continuously pouring into someone who is not necessarily pouring into you the way that you want to be poured into. But I will say a caveat on this is that sometimes God does bring people into your life who need you more than you need them. And so pour into that person, because that is what God would want you to do. But at the same time, make sure that you are replenishing yourself with your other friendships and with your relationship with God, to make sure that you're not like burning yourself out on somebody else's life. It's a very difficult and delicate balance, but sometimes God does bring those people into your life. But I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't think I have anyone in my life right now who's like that, because I give a lot in friendships and in relationships. I give and give and give, because that is how I love people, is by giving. And you know, I feel like I've been taken advantage of for doing that, both in friendships and in relationships. And that makes me terrified to even start a new friendship or start a new relationship of any sort, because I just don't want to get stuck in that cycle again, because it's happened so many times in the past. So, I mean, all of that is to say that I'm definitely not perfect, and this is not a perfect formula to get you all through life or through friendships, but I'm working on it. Like, I'm trying to figure it out, and I do have a solid friend group that I love dearly, and they're honestly so supportive. Even today, like, me getting out of bed is largely due to the people in my life, and I'm so thankful for God making sure that they're there. Oh my gosh, completely almost forgot. I realized that I forgot to make a very big important point, which is bigger circles do not mean more love. Okay, let's be real about that. I know what it feels like to be in a room full of people and still feel absolutely by myself. So just nurture the friendships that you have. And like, popularity is just not everything that it's cracked up to be. It can be like very lonely when people don't actually want to know you for you, but they want to know you for some tea, or like they want to know you to say they know you. Like, it's just not all it's cracked up to be. I'm gonna keep it real with you. So surround yourself with people who love you genuinely for you. And that is the major key. That is the major key. Surround yourself with people who you can be yourself with, and they are going to appreciate that. So I hope that all of these kind of help you guys identify maybe what's going on, or maybe help you to reflect on what has happened and what it could mean for you, and what you could learn moving forward for the rest of your friendships. Like, I hope it was helpful. Please let me know if it was helpful. I'm just kind of processing my thoughts right now. It was just nice to talk about something other than like what's been stressing me out today. It was just nice to talk to you guys. So that's why I'm here. Even though it was kind of a heavy topic, but whatever. Also, we are going through the quarantine right now, and I don't want you all to think that I am like talking about frivolity while something so serious is going on. I am very serious about what's happening with COVID-19, and that's why I'm stuck in the house, and this is what I'm doing as I'm stuck in the house. But just make sure you continue to wash your hands, make wise decisions. People our age are passing away, and it's devastating and it's terrifying. So just protect yourself, guys. Like, just protect yourself. So I love you all so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you follow me at @I'mRobin_ on Instagram. You can follow on TikTok too, but I literally haven't done anything on there for days. So I don't know if that stint is over in my life because that's the way I am. Maybe it's over. I don't really know. I might be back, but follow me on Instagram at @I'mRobin_. It's on the screen. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Love you so much. Bye.